Okay, so I don't usually make this type of video, but recently there are some big changes in Perplexity that's kind of making this tool to be less favorable. So basically in Perplexity, you can use this AI tool to find answers from the internet. You can also use it as a tool to do a research, and to some extent, this is actually a decent alternative to your typical search engines like Bing or Google. But again, as I said, there are some changes in Perplexity that are essentially a massive downgrade to this AI tool. It is so bad that I have a list of a few things that you need to know, especially if you are subscribing to Perplexity or if you're planning to subscribe to the pro version of Perplexity, because this tool is not the same anymore as the one that we have a few months ago. If you ask me a question like if it is worth it to subscribe to the pro version in Perplexity perhaps 3 or 6 months ago, I would say yeah, it is no-brainer, but recently maybe it is not the same answer, so it just got really bad. But anyway, I have this presentation that I have created that hopefully will give you a better idea about what's going on in this AI platform. So first, there is a massive downgrade when it comes to how many times you can use Perplexity to get answers. So there is one feature in Perplexity called research. Sometimes it is called deep research, but I think now it is called Perplexity research. So previously, if you're paying for $20 a month for the pro subscription in the platform, you'll get 600 credits a day, or basically 18,000 credits of research every single month. So that is quite a lot. That's pretty generous, honestly. But now you will only getting 20 credits or 20 queries for the research feature on the platform. There is a 99.89% reduction overnight. That's right. The keyword here is overnight. So previously it wasn't like this, but suddenly, just maybe less than 24 hours, we got this new policy. And what's worse is that in the mobile app version, it still says unlimited, even though it wasn't anymore. So if you're planning to subscribe to Perplexity Pro and you're expecting to use the research tool very often, well, this is basically not worth it. But that's not the only downgrade. Another thing that I noticed that's happening in Perplexity is about the $5 credit in the platform. So previously, if you subscribe to the pro version of Perplexity, you're paying for $20 a month, you will get $5 of API credit bonus. So this $5 can be used for running the Sonar model in Perplexity, and this can be used on platforms like Zapier, Make.com, perhaps, and AN. Basically, it can be used for certain automated tasks, but it is not the case anymore. Since 12 February 2026, Perplexity is no longer giving away $5 of API credits, and what's worse is that this change is so sudden, there is no announcement about it. And remember, this API is used for automation. So imagine that you're running some workflows, but suddenly your workflows don't work anymore because you don't have any credits. And again, there is no communication, there is no email message, it just suddenly doesn't work. And I could imagine that this could be very expensive for some businesses to not knowing about what's going on. So this is a bad look for the company. But again, this is not the only thing. Another problem is in Perplexity, there is a behavior that many people notice when they're using some big models like Gemini, GPT, Claude, Grok, etc. Oftentimes, the models are rerouted to the best. Now, in this case, best is basically means, or I would say very often means, it is using the Sonar model. Now, in case you didn't know, the Sonar model is the in-house model that was created by Perplexity. It is not a bad AI model per se, but if you compare it to Gemini, GPT, Sonnet, Grok, or even Kimi K2.5, which is basically an open source model, Sonar is not even close. It is not very good, especially for some difficult tasks. Like for example here, I asked a question to the Sonar model from Perplexity about what is Kimi Cloud, what it can and it cannot do. And this is the answer. It is not able to give me a proper answer. It is not able to do some research. It is just giving me a basic AI hallucination. Not very good. But with the same question, and I'm using the the Sonnet model from Anthropic, this is the answer. It is able to think deeply, it is able to do some research and gave me this nice summary. So it is much more helpful than the answer from the Sonar model. So that's why many people really hate this model, because it is just not what they're looking for. They choose GPT, they choose the Sonnet model, but suddenly they're getting the answer from the Sonar model. Not very good. Now, another problem, and this probably is still related to the previous problem, is previously in the regular search on Perplexity, you'll get unlimited access to the GPT models, Sonnet, the Grok models, usually without any limit, and you can use it without thinking too much that you will running out of credits. But now you are only getting like 20 to 30 advanced queries. So that's the way they name it, advanced queries a day. That's not a lot. And oftentimes you see this message that you cannot upload more images, you cannot do more research anymore using those models because the advanced search feature has been limited, which is crazy because a few months ago, this was essentially unlimited. Sure, there is nothing unlimited, there is nothing infinity, but it was so big that you don't have to worry about any limit. But suddenly you'll see this very, very often. And remember, you are paying $20 a month just to be told that you have reached your unlimited limit. So this is just insane. This just makes Perplexity to be not very usable. And imagine if you're doing any research using Perplexity, and usually any research could take you maybe several hours, and just spending maybe 15 minutes a day will just consume all the credits that you have on that day, and you have to wait for another day to get another 25 or 30 credits. So if you're using ChatGPT, you can chat with that model like hundreds of times, but in Perplexity, you can only do it 20 to 30 times a day. Not a lot, and it's just not very good. And on top of that, the customer service in Perplexity is just getting worse. Sure, it is very fast, it is responsive, but that's because the customer support was essentially handled by an AI agent called Sam. It's not very useful, it's not helpful, and there are some problems that can only be handled by a real person doing something in a physical world. So Sam here is just giving you some generic answer. They just told you that we're working on this problem, etc., and not giving you a solution. And I actually have really bad experience about claiming my affiliate. So I have Perplexity Pro, and I actually recommend Perplexity a lot, and people are subscribing to Perplexity via my links. So there is a program that if you refer to another person, you'll get another month of Perplexity Pro for free. But so far, after recommending I think 1,200 people, I only got one free month. So I supposed to get 1,200 months, which is basically forever, but I only got 1 month in total. For the rest of the months of the years I'm subscribing to Perplexity, I have to pay with my own money. So not to mention that some people are using I think there's sort of bundling program from Perplexity with some other companies, and they're not able to claim that, they're not able to resolve the problem because of the customer support was essentially handled by AI, not a real person. So if you're expecting top-notch customer service, don't think about it. So the question is, what can we do now? What are options that we have now that Perplexity is essentially shooting itself in the foot? Well, I have 4 options that I guess you can try. First, I don't like this, but this is one option definitely. So you can upgrade to the max version of Perplexity, which will set you back $200 a month. So it's from 20 to 200. That is 10 times more expensive, and given the track record, there is no guarantee that you can get away with using Perplexity a lot. Like it is possible that they are going to limit you again, even in the max plan. So that's one possibility, and that's why I don't think this is for everyone. And as you mentioned, we still have other options. The second option that you can try is just use some alternatives. Like there are names like u.com, Okara AI, Consensus App, and also you can even run a local AI tool using LM Studio, and you can pair it with DuckDuckGo, with Brave AI, and essentially making the local AI model to be able to do a research or get answer from the internet. It requires a bit of setup, but it is a lot less expensive. In fact, it can be 100% free, and you can run it locally on your computer. But if you're not comfortable doing that, then you can use some names like, again, u.com, Okara AI, Consensus App. And actually, I'm planning to do I'm going to cover about this topic maybe in the coming days, because there are many options that look similar to Perplexity, and I guess that can be used as an alternative to Perplexity AI. Okay, so the third option, and honestly this is my recommendation, is just stick with a company that makes their own AI model. So companies like Anthropic with the Cloud model, OpenAI with ChatGPT, and Google with Gemini, because they have their own AI models, and therefore it's going to be a lot cheaper to them to offer the service. Perplexity, on the other hand, is just borrowing the models from these companies. That's why they are charging they're paying extra to access to this model. So that's just the caveat of an AI wrapper like Perplexity. So just keep that in mind, that suddenly Perplexity can be very expensive. Suddenly the service can be not reliable because of the nature of the product. It is an AI wrapper. Now, another option, which I guess if you're not willing to use a different tool, you don't want to upgrade, and you still want to use Perplexity a lot, I guess we can be more conservative at using Perplexity. So my recommendation is to just always use the best model, which in this case, the Sonar model. And if you don't like it, then rewrite the answer from the best model. And I guess Perplexity has the incentive to improve its Sonar model, because it is quite a decent model, and what they need to do is to make the model even better and make it very, very similar to the quality of ChatGPT or Claude. If they can do that, then I think there is no problem to use the best or the Sonar model in the platform. So just use Perplexity normally, use the best model, and then if you don't like it, then you can always rewrite the answer using a different AI tool. So those are some options that you can try if you're not very happy with the current state of Perplexity. And I hope this video gives you a better understanding and also an update about what's going on Perplexity and why so many people are complaining about the decline of the service of this AI platform. So that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Have a great day.